once again to the Lone Star Meeple Podcast. With me as always to my right is the Red Meeple, Alex.
Hello, podcast land.
To my left we have the Green Meeple, Michael.
Hey guys, nice to be back.
And myself, the Blue Meeple, Sean. We are the Lone Star Meeple Podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Lone Star Meeple Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the evolution of area control, how it's changed throughout the years, how it's differently used in a whole bunch of games now, and how you shouldn't be scared of it. I feel sometimes, you pull out a game, say it's area control, and
Lots of different reactions.
lots of different reactions.
There's lots of different reactions.
So we're going to talk about a few of those later in the podcast. Let's talk about some games we've been playing.
What have you been playing, Michael?
I
know you've been very busy with a certain developer.
With a certain developer. IDW Games, they're working on an expansion to the digital game. I've been working with some friends of mine all around the world over the Zoom, and I've been setting up some playtest games here, and we've been playing. I've played with some guys in Japan, all over the United States. I have a friend, Max, comes, hangs out with us, and we play and set up games and play test the new cards and new scenarios, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's very exciting.
Lone Star Meeple going global.
Going global.
Not only that, going developing. That's the exciting part.
Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of fun helping and reading the cards and seeing how it works, getting a first impression of it. Like, this one seems a little too powerful. And when we play, it's like, it actually worked pretty well. Or another card is like, yeah, is anybody going to use this? And it turns out to be, like, super powerful. It's like, yeah, we might want to change.
Just as a question, how much input do you have? Have you told them this card is way too powerful, or I think this card should be changed in this way?
The designer, Pete Walsh, jumps in a lot of the Zoom ones, and after each game, we end up talking usually about lots of different things, but he asks about the cards, and there's been several times after the game, he's put a new version of the card out. All right, guys, try this card in the Facebook group. And there's been several times that he's like, I really like the way this works, or he's changed. The new expansion is going to have some new cards in the villain deck, like base cards that are always in the game. And those have fluctuated quite a bit since the playtesting has started. And he's taken out some, changed some a little bit as well.
What about you, Sean? What are you up to?
I'm still playing a lot of Xbox and Old Maid with my 6-year-old. Although we moved on. We played the Hungry Caterpillar board game.
Hey,
So
Xander, how
for
are
those
you?
of you out there with kids who they incessantly want to watch the Hungry Caterpillar on YouTube like mine does, they have a board game for that.
Oh, that's nice.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
So-
I've been doing a lot of online gaming on Steam with my brothers and my family.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing Scythe. We just learned and played Twilight Struggle. Such a great game.
That is a good game.
You just bought that, didn't you?
Yes, I just acquired a physical copy after playing the online copy, and I decided this is something that needs to be in my collection.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I saw it on your shelf. I'm like, I don't remember you having that.
No, that one's brand new, and it's the deluxe. I didn't know there was a Kickstarter for it.
Was it?
So this one came with a bunch of Kickstarter stuff.
What's that, Twilight Imperium?
No, Twilight
Twilight
Struggle.
Struggle.
Yeah.
They had a Kickstarter?
Yeah, apparently.
All right.
Yeah, who knew?
I just bought it. I bought it secondhand, so I
That's
have no idea.
Yeah. Other than that, I've been playing the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Still,
I've been still
Struggling through it?
Struggling through it, and then you know what it is? I started playing Maneater, which was like it was a $30 game. It's like it's like an action RPG, like where you're basically there's like a shark trying to get revenge, except you're playing as the shark.
That's cool.
It is. It was a lot of fun. Like, it's just mindless, simple fun. You gain levels, and you get these evolutions that you can unlock by completing these different tasks. So you can be like this crazy, ginormous shark with a bone jaw and like electric fins and everything. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It was definitely fun.
What platform is that on?
I played it on Xbox, and I think they have it on pretty much all of them.
That's okay.
Yeah, it was one of the $30 game, $40 game. It wasn't a full price game because I think I only played it 10 hours I got out of it around there. But like I also did like everything.
So I've been debating, now that you just brought it up, PlayStation 5 or Xbox Next.
Is that what it's called? Xbox Next?
I have no idea what the name is, but...
Neither.
No?
I always wait because there's...
So you're done with video games?
No, I'm not done. Inevitably there is always some kind of wonky thing going on with the systems when they come out. So I wait for it to come for like at least 6 months, because then usually 6 months later they have like a updated version that has different hardware. Yeah.
I'll wait for the Switch too. I'm a Nintendo man.
You're a Link man.
Yeah, that's...
You and Zelda.
You know, sometimes.
I'm sorry, Mario, but the princess is in another castle.
Oh, different game, dude.
Damn.
Totally different.
But, you know, I usually wait to get that. Like, I don't think I got an Xbox One until like a year after it was released, which is usually my rule for any Microsoft product, actually. But
Solid rule.
But usually I wait a little bit before I actually jump out and get the new hardware.
One of the ones I wanted to talk about, we played a long time ago. We played before quarantine came down, but I backed the next one on Kickstarter, and they came out with an update for it, so I wanted to talk about it because I know we haven't talked about it here. But the graphic novel Adventures by Van Ryder Games, the Caruso crew. You didn't play with us. We played with Eric and Scott and Alex and I. But it's a comic book adventure
like
game.
choose your own adventure, but each person has their own
Comic
different
book.
panels in their own comic book.
So you turn to page 45. Everyone has a very similar picture. And it's a picture of two people talking and something in the background. But one character is really good with animals, and there's a cat that follows them. And the cat on that person's book has noticed an animal, and there's a little number of a page that that animal can go and talk to.
So that person can go to a different page and get some extra information and bring it to the group.
And there's someone who's really like acrobatic, and so we got to a gate, and they have a number at the top of the gate, a page number, so they can climb to the top of the gate and get over. No one else sees that number in theirs. Someone else is really good at puzzles, so if there's a physical puzzle part of the game, they have a little hint that they have a page they can go get a hint on. There was a fourth character. I forget
Really strong or something like
Strong
that.
and
They could
fast.
carry extra, something like that.
But all four characters worked differently, and they worked independently, but it was a team adventure.
Because it ended up being like an escape room / choose your own adventure. Because you get to certain pages where there's puzzles, and my character might not know what to do, but his character might have the answer on his page, but he doesn't realize that it's the answer to his page. He's trying to figure out how it works on his puzzle. That's actually the puzzle, the answer to mine, and I have yours. And so you really need to communicate. And
Because the last puzzle that happened is they split us up into four different rooms.
Spoilers.
I'm not going to give answers, but they split us up into 4 different rooms, and you have your information, but you're by yourself. You can whisper to the person that's in the physical room next to you. So, like, if I'm in room 3, I can whisper information to the person in room 4 or the person in room 2. But the person in 1 can't talk to the person in 4. They can't share information that way. So as we're sitting on the table, I lean over to one person, give them, and lean over to someone else and tell them some information. And I got something over here, and we got to play telephone and get the information back over there. And then so you're working your way around the table, passing the information around. It was really interesting.
So can you just so let's just say like we're in this setup right now. So me and you would not be if there's a fourth person here.
Yeah.
I can whisper to Alex. Could he just then tell you precisely what I just told him?
And it's just the game.
Because it's thematically, we're in 4 separate rooms that are next to each other in a dungeon.
Yeah, it's just role playing.
So the person who's in that room can give information to the room next to him. You're talking through the walls is what it...
So you could just not follow the rules and say, hey, this and that and the other. But it's just more fun playing the telephone game because you're supposed to like lean in and whisper. And if I didn't hear everything, I come over here and whisper something incorrectly to him. And it's just like, again, it's thematic. So I pass it on this way and you pass it on that way. And it's just thematic. So they made the game to be fun like that.
And we played what felt like an entire game. We probably sat at the table an hour and a half, but
we read like 5 pages.
We didn't get anywhere near what the game offers. So at the very beginning, you choose an island. That island dictated our mission for that hour and a half we sat there. So next time we play, we'll just choose a different island. We'll get a completely different story. We'll visit new people, new puzzles. So that was a lot of fun. I backed the next one on Kickstarter, which is Sherlock Holmes. Same idea, 4 people doing a Sherlock Holmes adventure.
Interesting. So while we're on the subject of graphic novels, real quick for everybody out there, if anyone has watched Lock and Key on Netflix,
Which is a fun show.
Which was an amazing show. Did not realize that was based on a set of graphic novels by Joe Hill, who, if anyone out there, that is actually Stephen King's son.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
And he has a couple of comics out there that I've read before. But yeah, Joe Hill is Stephen King's son. The books that the TV show is based on, Lock and Key, like the graphic novels, are amazing, really good. Like I bought the master edition of every like volume that they have. So, and like the big fancy hardcover ones, and
Well, I'll have to borrow those from you.
Yeah, I flew through them in like 2 days. I literally just...
Yeah, I'm super interested in those. The Netflix show was a lot of fun to watch. I watched it with my kids. We were really into it. Just the way the different keys worked and everything, the suspense behind it.
Yeah, and the comics will explains. I mean, the show will eventually go into it. No, I don't want to spoil anything, but the comics go into a lot more detail and things, and there's a lot more keys in the comics. Obviously, because the full series at that point.
Because they can.
So, speaking of adventures, we went to go do a virtual...
Horrible segue.
What is it? Adventures and Adventures.
The virtual...
The Virtualopolis VR.
The one that's right by my house that you didn't call me to tell me that you're going to?
Exactly.
We could only have 4 people at the
You
one
can
we
only
went.
have 4 people.
Oh, all right.
And we went as a double date. And
Like you two were together?
We had girlfriends, dude.
we had our
Oh, all right.
girlfriends.
Okay, hey.
We are all hitting the microphones
Okay.
today.
So, I will say that is like the closest thing to a holodeck from Star Trek that you can achieve right now. It was so much fun doing the adventures and everything. And
It felt real. I've never seen VR where I felt real. There's parts that you like stand on the edge of a cliff and your animal brain's like, careful, you're on the edge of a cliff and you have to remember, I'm in a video game.
or
I'm
like
not
the
going
floor,
to fall.
the floor will move, and you actually like try to balance yourself,
You really
even
do.
though you're perfectly balanced to begin with. It was a lot of fun.
But it was like a virtual reality escape room. You had to like physically use puzzles that you would see in an escape room. But some of the things like put gears on the wall. I've done an escape room a couple different times. But Alex and I were paired up, and I had a gear that didn't fit, and he had a gear that didn't fit. So we had to look through a little crack in the wall where we could see each other and physically pass these virtual gears.
And you're literally throwing them at each other. Or there was one where he's climbing a wall, and he's like, "Where do I go?" And I had a bow and arrow, so I would shoot arrows, and he would grab the arrows that I'm shooting. They'd stick to the wall to continue climbing. It was
really well done.
the thing I don't like is the fact that even though there was 4 of us, the puzzles were mainly partnered.
Yeah, they definitely split us up through the software 2 versus 2 and 2. And there were 3 or 4 times that all 4 of us would be on a platform together and we'd all have to push the button at the same time.
And then we'd split up again.
And then we'd split up into 2 and 2.
That's the one thing I didn't like about... But it might have just been that particular game.
It's very possible.
But...
Because some of the other ones on their website don't specifically say groups of 2.
Yeah, so... That one, if you go, it's like... Take one other person, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You won't miss anything.
So if you're killed in the Matrix, then how does...
I don't know. Just wake up like Inception.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
A dream in a virtual reality world. Alright, so those are the things we've been playing. We're going to try something new this week. We're going to bring a mechanic, and we're going to talk about lots of different games about the mechanic. Alex is going to do a little intro on it, but this time we're going to talk about area control games, or area majority.
All right, so as you guys know, and if you listen to the podcast or know me, area control is one of my favorite mechanics. And like I mentioned earlier, usually you bring a game out and people will say, well, you get lots of different reactions. A lot of them negative, I'm surprised, where the people go, I don't want to play that area control game. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed a pattern where area control is in a lot more games. So we can start with... what I think is the granddaddy of them all.
Well, I was going to, just the BGG definition, I went and looked because as I was trying to figure out what we're going to do, I clicked area control. And the Board Game Geek definition of it is multiple players may occupy a space and gain benefits based on the proportional presence in the space. Basically, how more guys you have there, you're going to get a reward based on the amount of people you have versus other people.
Right, and that's where I was going, talking about the granddaddy of them all, because I don't think that definition really captures what in essence is area control.
Yeah, like I think there's a lot of there's different facets to area control than just basically as Board Game Geek is defining.
And one thing area control should, and I think the definition is missing, is it causes interaction and conflict between the players. Mm-hmm. So I've never played a peaceful area control game. I've never played a area control game where I I don't look at the person and go, "Oh, you beeply beep. Why did you go there?" And if someone knows of an older area control game, please let us know. But I think the granddaddy of them all, Risk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is the purest, most basic area control. And
I
I think
have this spot, you have that spot.
Yep,
And we
I'm
will
getting
fight for it.
Yeah, I'm getting a benefit from this spot, and we looked it up. That's why we said if you could think of one that's older. Risk was originally came out in 1959. So if any of you guys out there know of one that came out prior to that, do please let us know in the comments. But as far as we know, Risk is the oldest and the original area control game.
Mm-hmm.
right. So
Before we get too far, we're using the word area control. There's several other definite words we can use. Area majority and a couple other different things.
well, I think those are sisters or added into the area control aspect.
When we say area control, we're including area majority into that. So area majority would be if two people are there, whoever has the most. But area control is the person who has the territory. And there's little nuances, but we're going to say area control talking about lots of different types of area.
Yeah, like
And
that'll
how
just be
it's
the
changed,
broad term for it.
And how it's changed and how it's used in different games. One that kind of blew my mind was Adrenaline, and I've talked to you about this. Where that's an area control game, but it presents itself like a first-person shooter.
I was going to
there's
say,
lots
run
of-
me through that, because I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around how Adrenaline is an area control game.
So the mechanic of the game is it's a first-person shooter. You're running around, picking up weapons, shooting each other. It does not feel area control at all. What the area control is, in front of you have the cardboard player board. And every time I shoot you, I put my color wounds on your player board. And Alex shoots you and the other player shoots you. You're going to have several different colors. When you die, that's where the area control comes in. You look at your board, and whoever shot you the most gets the most points. The second most gets a fewer points all the way down for every player. Then you'll reset, you'll come back, but you'll also add a chit to a little red skull to make you less valuable, so there's no pick on the person in the whole game. So at the very end of the game,
when you score, it's
at the
area
end of everybody's death, when someone dies, will area control score, and that will happen multiple times. And at the end of the game, there's one more set of area control scoring.
of how many people you've killed.
Who killed the most people? So there's a track on the board itself. When you kill someone, you put your wound markers up there, and whoever has the most will score the most points at the end.
And
So even though the mechanics of the physical run around the game don't feel area control in the least, the entire scoring part is.
So that would, I guess that would kind of fall under more of like the area majority kind of thing. Because I remember when we I played Adrenaline with you multiple times, and never in my head did I like really consider it. Because when I say area control, my brain immediately says there's a board. There's going to be places on the board
And there's
that
a map,
I need to
and there's
control,
a battle, and
that we're going to be fighting over. We might be able to be there at the same time, maybe not. But that's immediately what my brain does when someone says an area control game.
And that's what this conversation is about, to show that area control is in lots of games, and it's not something to be scared of or snub your nose at, like I've seen some people do, because it's hidden. It's in there. You're playing area control. And for example, on Adrenaline, I've made decisions of, I can kill this person, give him 1 wound and get 2 points, or I can shoot him, add 5 markers, and control his board, so when he dies, I get the most points. You know, it's an active decision that you're making. Which area do I want to control? Do I want to finish him off, or do I want to start this guy?
Alright, so how I think we're going to work this today is, I went through the Board Game Geek Top 100 and pulled out all the ones that they said have area control. And the ones that we've played quite a bit that we're knowledgeable about, we pulled out. And then I went and pulled some more games that are area control through other lists that I found. So we're going to run through the list, and I think there's about 10 that we're going to talk briefly about. And then we each picked 3 that show area control in a unique way. And we already talked about my first one, Adrenaline. That it's not necessarily an area control game on its face, but it does have a unique aspect of area control. So we picked games that do area control or area majority a unique way. So we're going to run through this big list first. And we talked about Risk a little bit, but El Grande is number 62 on the Board Game Geek list.
What number was Risk?
18,000.
18,000.
Yeah. I thought that was a trick question when he asked him,
think-
like, oh, it's got to be in the top 100.
I don't think Risk deserves that much hate. I mean, it's...
To be fair, it was the one that came out in 1959, so if there's other versions that came out, they might have a different listing. I don't know. When I typed in Risk, that's the one I saw. But El Grande is 62, and it's also been one of the modern classics of area control games. It's very clean, very crisp. You're putting dudes on a map.
Yeah, so in El Grande, there's a set of cards. Each round, everyone picks a set of cards. And the cards tell you where and how many little cubes you can put in. And then there's a tower where you can always add your remaining cubes into it. And then there's, at the end of every section, there's a scoring round. And you score, based on majority and minorities.
Yeah, that was one. I haven't played that one in a long... I played that, I think, once
I've played once or twice.
Time ago.
Yeah, it's very basic, very simple area control. Nothing... I don't think it does anything fancy, but it is it's a 1995 game.
95 is when it came out.
So a fairly older game where it reintroduced this area control concept in a different non-risk way.
Yeah,
No dice.
It's a very Euro game. You know the information. You kind of know what your opponents are going to do.
You can't get eliminated from the game, so you participate in every single round. There is kind of like a runaway. At least I've noticed the couple times I've played it, a runaway mechanic where a really good player just runs away with the game and you can't catch up. They just kind of know the game and know the cards.
And that shows that it's a little bit older games. A lot of games that come out now try to mitigate that just because it ends up not being fun and people don't play games that aren't fun.
Yeah, and then once you know you're in last place,
yeah,
you kind of give up and you just start
Kingmaker or Chaos. One or the other.
I'm definitely on the side of Chaos.
All right, so the next one is one of our favorite games. Number 31 on Board Game Geek. It's Blood Rage.
Blood Rage!
Blood Rage!
Blood Rage.
Mandatory Blood Rage.
Mandatory Blood Rage.
Raise your hand if you want a copy of Blood Rage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all three hands up.
I really feel like Blood Rage comes up so often. It's just that good of a game that it comes up so often because it does so many things, like, virtually flawlessly.
I think it just really good blend of the Euro and American themed put together.
Yeah.
Someone once said, like, well, you could play Blood Rage without the minis. Yeah, it'd be the exact same game, but why would you want to?
Yeah.
So it has the strong thematic Viking theme that you find in a lot of Marathrash games, but it has a lot of Euro mechanics where you're not knocked out. There's drafting. There's asymmetric powers. So yeah, it just seamlessly. There's rewards for losing. That's one of the first games I've ever.
Loki strategy.
No.
And when we teach you, it's like your guys will die, and that's okay. It is okay to don't name them.
Don't name them.
Should never name your guys in Blood Rage. But it does area control, and it does it uniquely too because two people can stand next to each other from different clans, and nothing happened.
Right.
There's no negative things for two people standing next to each other until someone decides to raid a village. Once they've decided, not raid, what's it? Pillage the village. And they pillage it, and that's when you have to start looking at who's in that area. And you can pair points, and people can jump in and add points. You can never leave, because Vikings never run away.
Vikings never run away.
That's right.
But then it's not only that, but it's also in the quests. So the true area control comes if you happen to have the control of gray area, control of yellow area. That's when you're sitting there going, man, I need to put one guy there to finish my quest. And I need to make sure Sean doesn't put a guy. So how can I trick him to leave? I know. I'll pillage Yggdrasil.
He ran away.
That's what I liked. It was like there's almost like two types of area control going on. Like it was, you want to control the area so when you pillage, you have a better chance of winning the reward.
Yeah.
But like Alex, in the same token with the quests, you have this other area that you're trying to have the most strength in to get points. So it becomes this balance of, all right, I want the reward for that, but I also have this quest, and it's trying to, like he said, trying to juggle and bluff your way or trick your way into being able to do both.
Next one we're going to talk about, Shogun. It's not in the top 100. I didn't write the rank down for the ones that are not in the top 100. But Shogun looks.
Hi, Xander.
Hey.
The Lone Star Meeple mascot, everybody.
Shogun feels a little bit like Risk. It has a Risk-style map of Japan. You have armies that are going to attack each other. But I really like the way this one does the battles.
It's very unique with the dice tower.
Cube tower.
I guess they're not dice. They're not
dice. Just little
the
cubes.
cube towers where you pick up your armies and you drop them, and it's kind of just let's see what happens.
And if you've never played, it uses the same cube tower that is in Amerigo, and there's another game that uses the same cube tower.
There's a Stefan
Immortals.
Immortals. That's not the one I'm thinking of.
That's not the one you're thinking.
But there's a different one. But it looks a lot like a dice tower. But inside the cube tower, there's 3 different platforms with random holes in it. So as you throw these cubes in, some of them will stay in the
Edge of Darkness.
That's it. Some of them stay in the dice tower, cube tower, but other ones get knocked out. So just because you throw 5 red cubes in doesn't guarantee 5 red cubes are coming out.
And then someone who's not even in the war could win it because in the previous war,
everyone died.
Everyone died. And then all of a sudden everybody shows up for this war. We're just randomly walking by, saw 2 armies fighting and said, "Hey, we'll jump in."
Yeah, I never played this one actually, Shogun. Like, I mean, I've heard you talk about it, like I've heard of it, but I don't know. I don't even think I know anyone that has it. To be honest with you, oh, you have it. I knew that.
It's fun. It's fun, and it has a lot of unique things where you're paying with treasures and you're feeding your people. And fighting farmers.
Lots of different things. In the game.
So it's a more again, Risk is the granddaddy. This is like they got Risk and said,
Let's make it a Euro game.
Let's make it a Euro game.
Risk the Euro game.
Risk the Euro.
And also there's a German version of it. If you haven't played Shogun, there's like Luftenstein or something like that.
That's the one I was trying to think of. No, it starts with an L.
It starts with an L. My German's real rusty. But it's the exact same game except based in Europe.
Starts with a W. Wallenstein,
yeah.
I think that's it. So moving on down our list, we got Scythe at number 11 on the BGG ranking.
I was surprised to see Scythe as an area control because I would not have considered it.
So yeah, way I did the list, and I'm explaining it on this one because as we look at it, Scythe is not an area control game, but I just clicked area control, it gave me a whole bunch of ones, and I pulled the ones off that we wanted to talk about. But Scythe, there's a couple different smaller aspects of it. It's definitely not the main focus of the game, but at the end of the game, how many territories you control are worth points. So whoever controls each territory is worth so many points based on where you are in certain tracks.
Yeah, and I would say, like, it's one of those games where the area control is a small piece of it, but it's not the main thing. So, like, when you are controlling one of those areas, you have your guys there, you have dominion over the resources that are there, which you then use to build up your stuff, and somebody else can be like, you know what? You're starting to run away with this a little bit. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get that area so I can control those resources now. So it's conflict involved, but I mean, I played it a couple times. I honestly don't remember like how the conflict is resolved. Yeah, I remember being like peaceful.
You just kind of bid your powers, and if you win, you get to stay there. If you lose, you go back to your home base.
Again, it has area control.
Has conflict.
Not the main aspect of the game. It is a fun game. I do enjoy playing it every now and then, though.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a while. I actually never played it. There's expansions, right? There's expansions for it now? I don't think I've ever played the expansions.
It's one of our online games.
I don't know.
There's a great copy of it in Steam.
I don't think I've played the expansions either. There's a Legacy-esque expansion, something Rise of Fenris. And it's supposed to be a really fun campaign to play through. Next on our list, number 35 on the Board Game Geek is Root.
See, the Root is a great game, but my problem with calling it an area control is that not all factions actually care about area.
Yes, but some factions only care about area.
Yeah,
so some people at the table are going to be playing an area control game the entire time.
If you're the Marquis de Cats, all you care about is taking over the entire forest. Same thing with the birds.
The birds do.
I think the beavers don't care about area. They're putting their paws in everybody's baskets. Same thing with the alligators, I think.
And the raccoon. He has a different name.
That's right. The Renegade, no.
That's what I played as. I played as the one who's like kind of the neutral, but you're basically playing both sides of the fence.
But he's like, I'm going to give you cards because it gives me points.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, I want the cards, but I don't want to give you points. So I like Root being on this list of area control games because some people at the table are playing an absolutely 100% area control game, and some people have to know that. They have to know that they're trying to control their areas. So even though I might not be playing the area control part of it, I know that the cats are, and I have to be aware of where the cats are in the game, and have to be aware of what they're controlling.
The intertwining of all the different... Because really in Root, you're playing 5 different games.
Yeah.
And somehow they're all intertwined into one game.
I remember like when I think I only played it once or twice, and the first time I played it was about halfway through the game before I started really wrapping my head around what's going on. Because it was so weird, because I was like, all right, I get what you're trying to do, and I understand what I need to do, but it's like, I don't have a goal. I'm trying to be in the middle. It's like,
I don't want to
really
stop
weird.
you because I don't gain anything from stopping you.
But I don't want you to win.
But I don't want you to win. So I'm hoping he stops you, but it doesn't look like he's stopping you.
He should stop you.
It was fun, but it was definitely a wonky game.
Yeah, it's definitely a very unique area control.
Yeah, but that kind of shows you, like, when you're going back talking about Risk, there's how area control has evolved over the years. From just straight up, I own this is mine, you can come fight me for it, and then it's yours, to something like Root, where these people want area control, but these ones don't, but they kind of want area control to stop yours.
We can share this land if you want.
We can both hang out, yeah.
But we're going to kick his butt over there.
All right, number 82, Tigris and Euphrates, and its little brother, Yellow and the Yangtze.
Yeah.
Very similar games. We're going to decide to talk about them together because a lot of the mechanisms work really, really similar, yeah.
And then we played the not the newer version. Yellow and Yangtze
we played Tigris and Euphrates.
Yeah.
We played Yellow and the Yangtze.
He's pointing to Sean
I
on
was
the
going to
first
say,
one. Michael on the second one.
For those of you out there that might not be able to see.
I forget, this isn't a video.
They can't see who you're pointing to.
All right.
So Sean and Alex.
Blue and Red have played Tigris and Euphrates.
And Michael and Alex.
Red and Green have played Yahtzee and
Yellow and
Yahtzee. So Reiner Knizia has become one of my favorite developers just because of the elegance of his games. And he always has this one thing that makes the game kind of like, that one thing. And the really unique thing about these two games, the genius behind them is, so you're collecting different colored points based on the tiles. So there's red tiles, black tiles, yellow tiles, green tiles, blue tiles, and you're gaining points in each individual one. So I can have 10 red points, 6 yellow points, 20 black points, 2 blue points. And the genius of the game, and this is where area control starts becoming different, is only your lowest points matter. Mm-hmm. So if I have 100 red points but 2 blue points, I have 2 blue points. And this is where
you mean 2 points at the end of the game.
2 points at the end of the game. Okay. Yes, those are the only ones that matter. I'm sorry. So what I think is really unique about this is, I got 20 black points. Sean takes over the black territories. I might not even want to fight him back. It's not like Risk where I have United States of America. You take over Alaska. I'm going to fight you to the bitter end to get Alaska back because I want to control the area. This one, it shifts so much. What your wants are based on what your needs are, which is, I think, a really ingenious way of controlling that area control.
Yeah. That's
pretty much it in a nutshell. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely interesting. And when we played it, it was literally the exact thing. I was like,
and it's
I don't need
so hard losing something. I'm like, I need to get. No, I don't need to get that
because
back.
Your mindset needs to change, and it's like usually it's you attack me, well, I'm going to attack you back.
I need to get that back. It's mine.
But here you need to be like, you attack me. I don't really need that. I'm going to go this way.
All right, next one on the list absolutely surprised me for like 10 seconds, and then I was like, nope, that is absolutely area control. Is Smash Up. When I first read, I was like, that's not an area. Wait a second. It is 100%.
Everybody is fighting over bases on the board. I mean, it's a campy, like, family kind of silly game, but
Yeah,
at its core, there are locations on the board that you are deploying creatures to in an effort.
Whoever has the
to have the
most
most.
gets the thing.
I mean, I see it. I see your arguments. My only problem is that you don't gain benefits every round.
No, you gain it
when it pops.
It becomes
So-
there's a trigger on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So when
so
it pops,
Risk, owning the territory every round, you're gaining the benefits.
well, Blood Rage, you have to initiate the battle.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of, like I said, a different element of area control.
Yeah, like I said, I see it, but I just...
Like, even
you
with
said,
Adrenaline, like, I don't get it. For having the most on your board, if you never die, that does nothing for me.
No,
Well,
you'll
that's not
die.
gonna happen.
You'll die. Everyone
You are,
dies.
yes, you will die in Adrenaline. But I'm just saying, in theory, if I have 8, wounds on your board, and for some reason you just are good at running away, or you survive, those 8 things do nothing for me.
So yeah, Smash Up, absolutely. And one of the fun things they do about that one is, so each base has 3 point values. Whoever has the most, hey Xander, whoever has the most points gets the first point value. Whoever has the second most, what's the word? I guess it's using
Second
points
place.
two different
First
ways.
place, second place.
Of control.
Yeah.
And then whoever has the last control gets that third point value. But that's not always greatest to least. Sometimes that third player is going to get the most points, or the middle player is going to get the most points. But there is usually a winning bonus.
Yeah.
Like you get this special power if you're the one who has the most, you get the special power on the base, and then you discard to get a new base.
Yeah, the bulk of them are whoever has the most, first place gets the most points.
But
But there
every
are
now
a
and
couple
then-
that just throw you for a loop that makes you change your mindset. So I sold all my Smash Up stuff.
Did you? You
Like,
had the big old box. Of
I
it,
did.
didn't you?
I had every single expansion, but after a while, it stopped hitting the table because it became so chaotic. Because there was all the expansions, and there was tokens, and then there was counters, and then there was power counters, and you can move the power. There was just too much, like, just accounting to worry about playing the game, to the point where I just said, like, listen, we're only playing with the base factions because the rest of the stuff it's fun, but it just becomes too much upkeep to worry about, and it stopped hitting the table a lot, and I figured, you know what? Somebody wanted to, his son and really enjoyed it. It was like 10 or 11 years old, so I sold him the whole thing. I was like, yeah, you know what? If your kids enjoy it, have at it, have fun.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot in games where too many expansions ruin the pot.
And then, as we play games and we decide we're done playing that game and we start playing new games, our group has a big problem of playing new games and then forgetting about the old ones, and just we're sitting in a board game room here, and I was reorganizing the other day. There's a lot of games that I really enjoy that we just don't pull out as much anymore. And it's neither good nor bad. It's just what we do.
You know what we should do, honestly, I just thought of this, is when we kind of get together, when finally we can all actually, like, hang out as, like, groups again.
You remember doing things?
Remember doing things? Remember what life was like?
There was a time where we would play games every day of the week.
Yeah.
It's like Monday we'd go to this meetup. Tuesday we'd do this meetup. Wednesday we'd run a meetup. Thursday we'd go to play Gloomhaven. And Friday we'd play game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, what we should do is, honestly, is, like, we said, like, hey, listen, we're going to get together playing games, but you know what? Everyone, bring a game with you that you have not played in a while. Because everyone always wants to bring a case in point, I brought Godspeed with me. Because I just got it in the mail. Everyone wants to bring, like Alex says, Cult of the New. They want to bring the new shiny game that they got. It's like, we should specifically say, like, call up Scott and Eric and be like, listen, bring an older game you haven't played in a while.
We should do it by years. Bring a game made in 2017. Everybody brings a 2017 game, and that kind of narrows down the field of which games we're going to...
Yeah, I mean, if you say just something you have not played in a long time, and if you have not played it in 6 months or more, just bring it.
Not counting Corona.
Not counting Corona, yeah.
Pre-Corona. All right, next one we're going to talk about is the highest rated board game that we're going to talk about on this main list is Rebellion, coming in at number 7. Star Wars Rebellion.
And it used to be number 1 for a long time.
Did it?
Yeah.
It was like number 1, number 2. That's why I bought it, because it was so high. And I wanted to see if it lived up to the hype.
Does it?
Boy, does it.
Yeah, it does.
It's such a... You love Star Wars. You want to play through the movies.
Oh, it
That's the
absolutely
game.
feels like you're playing
Yeah.
the movies.
It really does. Like,
And area control is dealt differently there because, I mean, as the Empire, you really don't care about controlling the planets. You have so many troops that you don't care. The reason you're controlling them is just to put that choke on the rebellion.
And as the rebellion, you feel it. You're like, he's going to catch me. You have a hidden base somewhere, so he's going to find it next turn. And he goes to a different planet. You're like, yes! But now he's killing all the people on that planet, and poor Alderaan. R.I.P.
It's so like a seek and destroy. It's like the area. Like you want to control the areas, but you only really want to do it so you can be like, I'm going to find your base. You're just systematically going through. Are you there? No, blow it up anyway.
And I don't know about you all, but my mission is always to blow up the guns.
First.
The moment I build a Death Star,
Misa want to be the secret base.
Boom.
Speaking of, side note, there was a funny thing I saw. That there was a meme someone put up. It's just like, you know what, some force of nature, whatever. Would you rather talk like Jar Jar Binks or look like Jar Jar Binks?
Misa want to look like Jar Jar Binks.
But yeah, no, Rebellion was... you showed it to me the first time I played it.
Yeah, I have it right there. It's still...
That was your board game measuring tool, wasn't it?
That was also, when I went to go buy a board game table, I took the Rebellion boards to the store and got funny looks, but I needed a table that could fit that one.
That's right, I've done that. I've done that at the Container Store, where I wanted, there's no insert for a game, or the insert is $130. I'll go to the Container Store with the board game and sit on the floor, pulling different containers out and, putting them in, see which one fits best.
What's sad is that's not even the biggest table hog anymore.
Not anymore.
No. Thank you, Gloomhaven.
That does a lot. Yeah. Next one on the list was a Spiel des Jahres nominee a couple years ago, Amenhotep. Egyptian-themed game about building different landmarks in Egypt. Some of them are area control, some of them not. So usually there's 4 different things that you're building. Some are just based on where you put them physically, but several of them, like you're building the palace or something. Whoever has the most cubes at the end of the game is going to get the most points, or at the end of each round. So it's not area control at its heart, but it definitely has some area control points in it.
This is the one with the boats, right? You load up the boats. You can pick to load it, you pick to send it. I don't know. I played it once, and I don't know. It didn't click with me. I don't know. Not that there's anything wrong with the game. I know a lot of people out there really like it. Just I played it once, and I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't really click with me for some reason.
Yeah, so we ran through this list to show you that area control is in a lot of games, and it's not something to be scared of or stub your nose at.
And sometimes it's hidden in there. There was several that we talked about that we realized that it does have area control, area majorities, even though it didn't put it right out there on the box.
Yeah, I never even thought of it until you said it, and I was like, I can see it. It's just kind of like they snuck it in there a little bit.
So, back to your first
game. So so that was the big list that we wanted to run through. And now we each picked 3 games that we want to just highlight. Maybe it's really well done or just a unique aspect of area control. My first one was Adrenaline. We're not going to go back into it again.
Yeah, we already hijacked that. Sorry.
But it snuck in some area control aspects of it. It's a really fun game to play. It's one of my top 10 games to run around and shoot everybody. And then just that little area control at the bottom.
That game is a lot of fun.
It is fun, but one of my top area control games, which to me was a sleeper hit, not many people really, I don't hear talked about a lot, but Tyrants of the Underdark, which combines 2 of my favorite things, deck building and area control. Mm-hmm. And,
like Alex says, deck builder plus.
Deck builder plus. Well, I really enjoy deck building as a mechanic.
Whoa. We'll do that later.
It's just a little spoiler alert. Just because it shows a growth in power, and as your power in your deck builds, you can see your armies spreading out through the map and taking over all the Underdark. It's a fantastic game. A lot of conflict. You get to murder each other. You're fighting for territories, and you're buying cards and building a deck. I highly recommend that one.
That was a fun
thing. And like I said, it's deck building plus area control.
Yeah, it is. It's a D&D theme for anyone who hasn't played. If you're kind of like the D&D style games, I think it's the Drow, right?
You're playing the Drow. So if you've read the books of Drizzt or Drizzt,
I think so.
His family house comes out in it. One of them is like his family house, and they talk about all the houses in those books. They're the Drow. You're controlling the Underdark. There's 8 now. There's 8 half decks, and when you make a deck, you combine 2 decks to make the So you can have dark elves and elementals, or dragons and undead, and
Nice smash up.
stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say smash up style.
Yeah, kind of smash up style.
D&D smash up.
D&D smash up, deck building plus area control.
There you go.
All right, what do you have, Sean?
So the first one I had on was actually we touched on it briefly was Twilight Struggle. Like in this one, it does area control. Like I only actually played it that one time, and we kind of like we're playing it at Emerald Tavern. But it does area control in that like that fun way where it's I guess it's you can kind of almost call it Risk-esque. Like, but we're not like necessarily like straight up combating each other. It's more of like it's the Cold War.
But you are.
But you're doing it on the sneak. Like you're not really like straight up like I'm just gonna walk into and start shooting you.
You're changing influences. You're playing cards to control the areas because you know what you're going to score. So there's each area has a scorecard. If you happen to have it in your hand, you start influencing an area, and the other players should be smart enough to know, Sean's putting a lot of influence in South America. I think South America's about to pop. But yeah, that's another.
Yeah, but it does area control in a way that like you can obviously you're fighting over the territories, but you're doing it in an like you said like an influence way, not a fisticuffs kind of a way.
Yeah.
And then you're playing these events, like the Cuban Missile Crisis pops up, and that just changes how everything is going to work for the next however many rounds. And there was an element to it. Maybe you could refresh my memory. I remember it was something about like choosing cards. Where like, I want this card.
Yeah. So if you play every card, the point of the game is a multi-purpose cards. So the cards can be used at the top. There's like action points. So a card could have 4 action points, which lets you attack like 4 times or place 4 influences. But the interesting thing is, if the U.S. uses a Russian card, the Russians get to trigger the event.
Oh.
And if the Russians use a U.S. card, the U.S. get to trigger the event. So maybe you'll have a card there with 4 points where you're like, man, I could really use this to take over West Berlin or West Germany. But it's a U.S. card, and if I use it, I don't get the benefits of the card. And that's the whole thing where you're like, man, I really want to use this card, but I don't want him to do the thing.
Yeah, that was a really good game. I'm kind of mad that we didn't get to finish that game because I don't think we realized.
I have it right there whenever you want.
Yeah, we did. We should play that again. That was a lot of fun.
Next one on my list is Mission Red Planet. This one is two different games in one. The first one is action selection, simultaneous action selection. Everybody picks a card, puts it face down, and flips it over. And then starting at number 1, we go through number 9. But the main part of the game is there's a map of Mars, and it's a Risk-esque map where Mars is divided up into 8 different territories, and then there's a moon.
Phobos.
Phobos, the moon. And the main aspect of the game is trying to go to the map.
Whoever has the most.
Go to the moon, because there's different resources on each section of the map. And at the end of the first round, you're going to get 1 point for one of those resources, and they range from 3 to 5 points. 1, 2, and 3 points. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the second round, you get 2 of those things. And if I'm the only one there, I'm going to get both of them. But if there's someone else there, I get the first one, they get the second one. No?
No. Whoever has the most gets both of them. If it's tied, you split it.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, if it's tied, like if there's one resource and you tie, it stays there for the next round.
For the next round. Yeah, because you have to split it evenly if you can. Mm-hmm. And then there's a third round, and then at the end of the third round, there's a final scoring part where there's been some cards throughout the game that have been tucked under where this one's going to score double points or this one doesn't score at all. And so you can actually mitigate the game knowing that you've tucked a card under a territory that says that territory's not going to score. And you just never put any guys in there because you're like, ha, no points for you.
Fun fact about that game, I have never had anyone say they didn't like it.
It's a really fun game.
It's a really good game.
I never played it. I don't know.
It's really fun. It plays. The cool thing is it plays up to 6 people, but 6 people don't slow down the game.
Mm-hmm. It plays the exact same with 2 as it does with 6.
Yeah, 2 to 6. The game is exact same game.
Just a little more chaotic.
I wish more games did that.
It's chaotic. It's
6
fun.
Yeah.
It's strategic. You have to know when to play which guy and how to play them. And everyone loves the game. I haven't, as of yet, it's like my go-to intro to gaming game.
Yeah, it's one of those good gateway games because it's slightly harder than maybe like a Ticket to Ride or Carcassonne,
Right.
but it's still easy enough to pick up. Easy to teach, hard to play, hard to learn,
Master.
hard to master.
Yeah, right. Yeah. 5 minutes to learn, years to master.
All right, Sean, what do you have?
It was Terra Mystica. I know I can already hear Alex is rolling his eyes, but
Mine hit the back of my head.
I like this game. It was one of the first.
Wake up, Alex.
Hey, it's your turn. God. No, this was one of the first games that someone the first really heavy games that someone introduced me to years ago. You know, we went from just loads of water deep stuff like that, and then he just whipped that on the table, and it blew my mind. So that might, he just whipped it out. So that might be why it's held such a special place for me, because it was one of my first experiences with that type of game.
Mm-hmm.
But with Terra Mystica, it's area control is not the main portion of it. I mean, it's a part of it. Like, you're terraforming these areas, you're trying to take it over to your homeland so you can build on it and expand your civilization. And once you have it, it's yours. Nobody can take it. So it's not one of those games where there's conflict in the sense that, I'm going to fight you for that area. Once somebody has it, if they cut you off in the direction that you're trying to go, you need to kind of circumvent that and figure out, how you're going to, expand even further.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, Terra Mystica, I think, is another one that, area control is a big part of it, but not, the only thing.
I was at my brother's house before Corona. I think Thanksgiving, Christmas time? I don't remember when I was over there. They live in Massachusetts, so I don't get to see him very often. But him and his wife have played Terra Mystica for years, and they have this Excel document of each of the tribes, clans, races. And they're like, all right, when these two play, who won? When these two play, who won? So they're trying to play all the different combinations and see who the best one is. And so I was looking, it's halfway finished. It's are y'all still doing this? He's like, yeah, we try every now and then. But they've played a lot of that game, and they really enjoy it as well.
It's a lot of fun. I really like it. It's very tight, resources. You have enough to do most of what you want to do, but never all of what you want to do. But it's very early. And it's definitely, it can be a slog if you're playing with more than 4 people. Mm-hmm. So I definitely can understand why some people will avoid it. But, I won't play it with more than 4. I tried that once.
Does it play more than 4?
Yeah, I think it goes up to 5.
Oh.
Have you played Gaia Project?
I have played Gaia Project, yeah.
How do they compare?
Gaia Project it's
Space.
interesting. It's the space theme.
Well, is it a faster, more streamlined version, or same thing in space?
It's kind of the same thing in space, I would say, or at least for me. I mean, I only played it once. It was weird because you're trying to expand into the planets, and there was the distance was a problem, so you have to try to go up on the tracks before you can move into things. And I played it the one time, and it took me a little bit to compare them, but I think it's because I played Terra Mystica so much more that I just have a better grasp of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Gaia Project, I don't know. I mean, I was kind of on the fence. I'd have to play it another couple of times to really make a good determination on it.
Well, it's a game I'd definitely give another try.
It's been a long time since I've played a full game. Yeah.
My next game is a game that when I backed it on Kickstarter, I was actually really scared it was going to be too Euro-y. And then when I finally played it, to my surprise, it's area control funness. Endeavor, Age of Sail, and I just got the new expansion, Age of Expansion, for it, which...
The expansion's called Age of Expansion?
Yeah.
Man, they really reached for that one, didn't they?
I think that's what it is.
Exploration, maybe?
I think it's...
I have no idea.
But... so in Endeavor, there's all these chits all over there, little wooden chits all over the board, and you're trying to control
chits everywhere.
Everywhere. No, literally, you get a bag full of them. And
such a piece of chit.
Bag of chits.
And you're trying to control the different areas. There's area control when it comes to opening up new lands. Whoever has the most control of that area gets to be the governor. At the end of the game, each fort you control is worth points. It's only 7 rounds, and when you start the game, you start out with two little workers, and you're sitting there going, I have to fill up this map with workers. By the end of it, you're sitting there going, I have 10 extra workers. What am I going to do with them? Why do I have so many workers? It's a great game. I highly recommend it to anybody out there.
Have you done the expansion yet?
I have not played the expansion.
We should
but
do that, yeah.
It was a really cool expansion because it just added new tiles. And what I really like about it is they printed them double-sided. So if you want to play the original game, use the day side. You want to use the new game, use the night side.
Oh, so you could just get rid of all the base stuff.
You just get rid... Yeah, so it came with
Just
a new tray.
switch it out. Oh,
it came
that's
with a
nice.
new tray, it came with everything. So you literally grab the new tray, put it in the box, grab the old tray, throw it away, put it somewhere, do whatever you do with old pieces. Make a shadow box.
And we should play again.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Yes, that was. I think I played it when you first got it, and that was like the last time I had really even looked at it.
Yeah, and I was really scared because I didn't know anything about it, but it was like had a lot of backing in Kickstarter, and I just backed it, and I was like sitting there going, "Man, I bet it's going to be like Terra Mystica, super."
I remember you playing the original after you'd backed it. Someone had it on the table. Was like, okay, I want to play. See if I like this game.
Yeah, and I was not disappointed. It's gone up on one of my favorite games.
All right. My last one is a very gateway game, Carcassonne. And this is another one that's kind of surprised me when I first looked at it. It's like, oh. But the area control is all over the game. But it's not... Usually it's just going to be one or two workers that actually get you the control of it. Because once you've built a castle, you can't put a guy in a city that's already has a guy in it. So you have to work your way and build a city next to a city, put a guy in that one, and then get those cities to merge together. You have to build the area in order to control it, because once you put a guy in it, it's yours. Nobody can really take it from you unless they merge it with another city. Same with the roads. There's roads, and you put a guy on the road, you have control of it. You'll score the points when the road finishes. But if someone else builds a road coming the other way and is able to put it on there, and they'll share the points with you. So people who play the game really, really well work on combining those cities together. And if you're playing with 3 or 4 people playing the game, those cities can get big. And there's 2 people building one city up together, and you're like, oh, maybe I should try to jump in that city. And but Carcassonne does area control in a unique, kind of hidden way, just because it's so much involved in the game, but you really don't think about it.
Yeah, that's another one I haven't played in like a long, long time. Because it's one of those ones that like it's all right, fine, I'll play Carcassonne.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad game. Like it's a perfectly fine game. It's just one of those ones where I guess like I leveled up, so I want to play different things.
Absolutely, I play with people. I use it as a gateway game. Hey, you don't play board games? You want to learn how to play a board game? Here's an easy one to play with. My girlfriend and I play it quite a bit over the phones and stuff. But it's one of those games that took risk, and it took El Grande, and it took the things that those games do with the area control and just manipulated it into something else.
Yeah, not a big fan. It gives me a headache, and putting the little workers down, and just, no.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
I'm just no on that game.
That's fine.
It wouldn't dispute. Did you use
I
it
say
a
the same
couple
thing
years
about
ago?
you sometimes. It's okay.
Alex, your next one?
So the last one I was going to do is called Blue Lagoon. What surprises me about this, and it happens quite often, where this is a game I picked up for like $10 on half-price books. Really, really, really cheap game. And I picked it up, learned the rules, played it once, and just instantly fell in love with it. So in Blue Lagoon, it's a Reiner Knizia game, and like I said, he has very elegant, simple games. You do one thing. On your turn, you grab a little piece and you put it on the board. And what you're doing is you're trying to create chains.
Is this the one with all the islands?
Yeah, so there's like 8 different islands, and you're trying to create chains through the islands. And there's area control because there's like 12 different ways of scoring in the game. And you need to know how to set yourself up for success. And you're one way is the longest chain connecting all the islands.
Yeah.
And then another way is actual how many pieces you have in the island. And another way is like how many islands do you control or something like that. And it's just a very unique way because there's no combat. There's no combat, but there's a lot of conflict in the game.
Yeah, there is.
Because you can block people off. You see someone coming to your island, you build a nice little wall because only one piece
can go on each hex. And
you can't jump over hexes. You have to build a chain. So I see you coming towards my little island. I can just build a little wall, and you're stuck there. And the thing that people don't realize is you start with like 20 pieces. So you think you have a lot, but each and every single one of those pieces matters. You do not want to waste them like going around someone's wall. But you also don't want to waste them building a wall because you want to get to other places. And that's the beauty of the game, where you feel you have a lot, but midway through the game, you're looking at the map going, man, I should not have placed those 12 guys over there.
Because it's whoever has the most ones on each island scores points, but there's also points if you're on every island. So you don't want to just take take a couple islands. You want to be on every island and have the most on the important islands.
Yeah, and each one scores differently. It's a great game. $10. Plays in less than an hour. Like, we can play a 4-player game in less than an hour. I think the hardest thing is the math when you're adding up. Super simple to explain. Super simple to learn. Hard to master.
Yeah, then that was fun. And then remember there was an element of like resources too, where you want to try to get the most of this, but you have to now move your chain over to them. So by doing that now, you're not going in another way.
Exactly, and that's what I mean, where you're building your little chain, and each piece is so valuable. Should I use this piece to block Sean? Should I use this piece to get a resource? Should I use this piece to gain control? But then he can just place another piece, so that means then people get into like bidding wars, where I place a piece, you place a piece, and then the third player is just going around, I control all the other islands while you... So it's a very hard balancing act, because you're limited. Like in Risk, you're not limited in the number of armies you have. You could have 10,000 armies spread out through the entire world. Here you have 20, and you need to control the world with these 20 people.
Yeah. This was one of the few games that I think after we played it, I was like, I set it up again.
Yeah. That doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen often, but I was like, you know what? The game was fast enough, and it was fun. I was like, all right, set it up again.
Yeah, it's a great game. I found it... They had like tons of copies in half-price books for like $10-15. If you see Blue Lagoon out there, definitely pick up that would be, if we had some sort of award, it would be definitely my nomination.
Yeah.
So my last one is a Kickstarter that I got last year. We've talked about it before on previous podcasts. Is Court of the Dead. So Court of the Dead is you're basically playing as like these underworld factions, kind of being the politicians between a war between heaven and hell. You know, trying to like vying for you know control over the souls of the dead. But like with this game, like on the board, like there's all of these different areas like of the underworld that you're trying to control, and that you're trying to have like the most pieces on, because at the end of every round, you're gonna go through each individual spot in order and say, okay, who has the most here? Okay, you get a thing, you get a benefit, you get a benefit, you get a benefit. And the fun part is, or an interesting part of it, the area control to it is even beyond that. It's who has the most of a certain type of faction. So like, you know, you can have control over all the areas and win, you know, like 4 of them there, but then lose on every single thing down at the bottom. So it's hard to do both. So you have to almost figure out, all right, what is it that I need now to try to control, and what am I trying to go for? So do I want to just give up having the most of this piece so that I can control this area and get this thing that I need? Or do I want to try to go all in and get more of these particular types of figures so I can win down at the bottom?
Yeah.
And get that benefit because I'm going to need that more. So you're constantly juggling between what you want to control. And it's like one of those things, like you said, with Tigris and Euphrates, just because you lose a spot, you might not need it anymore. You might be like, you know what? I'm not going to fight him for it because I think I have a better plan that I'm going to go for anyway, so you can have that.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful game, I have to say. The minis are wonderful. The artwork is wonderful. The little metal sliders are wonderful. If you're going to get that game, you definitely need the Kickstarter Deluxe version.
The Kickstarter Deluxe version.
Of course. You always get the deluxe version.
Stupid deluxe version.
Yeah, the metal coins, like the pewter like skull sliders for the player boards.
Those look real nice.
Yeah, it's a really well done, well put together, pretty game.
Yeah, and it's a complete game. A lot of the times I get Kickstarters, and they feel like they're missing a mechanic.
And then the expansion comes out.
Yeah.
There it is.
But this one is a complete game in a box. I would compare it, It's more Blood Rage than Tiger and Euphrates, you know? More that style, but it's definitely a fun game.
Well, there's 19 games that we talked about. Some shoved in your face area control, some a little bit of hidden area control, and some that just surprised you that you have been playing area control games and you didn't realize it. So we hope that you just try to open your mind, find a game that you like, and play it.
Yeah. Yeah, and if anyone has anything that they particularly like as an area control game or something that you might have it kind of hidden in there that they did it on the sneak, go ahead and just feel free, leave us a comment and tell us what you think.
This is a new a new platform that we're using, and if you like the way we're doing this and you want to see more thing about deck building and tiling and different things like that, if there's something you want to hear about or you didn't enjoy it at all, let us know, and we'll keep working on getting better.
We're hashtag Lone Star Meeple on pretty much any social media. But speaking of area control, Ank's coming out, new Kickstarters. I think we just officially all backed.
We did. Yeah.
We're getting 3 copies of Ankh.
I was the last one to jump on that bandwagon. Was like, fine.
You can't say no to that, Mr. Lang.
Yeah,
we fully support you.
Yes, Eric Lang. we like your games. The newest Tiny Epic is coming out. Tiny Epic Pirates is using a rondelle with a little pick up and deliver game. That's probably the most expensive Tiny Epic game I've bought.
$100 Tiny Epic?
I'm not spending $100 on this Tiny Epic game. I did the game and the expansion, and I think it's $45. But then they were trying to charge another $40 for the playmats, and I'm like, I can't spend $100 on it.
You have to get the playmats.
You have to get the playmats.
I know, but I can't. That's a lot of money for the game.
He's going to get the playmats.
He's going to get the playmats. Yeah. I'm literally looking at like a wine rack pretty much of playmats. He's going to get the playmat.
And then furthermore into the area control, we have War of Whispers. The new campaign just ended. I think you can still late back it. Mm-hmm. They have a collector's edition, deluxe edition, regular edition, which we're giving away a regular edition on our podcast, but this is area control. But you are the people behind the area control.
So we were teaching it to someone last night, and I was like, okay, so you're not playing Risk. You're puppet mastering the people who are playing Risk. So the figures on the board are playing a game of Risk, and you are behind the scenes like, all right, you should go invade Germany. You need to do this.
Yeah, and this is another game that has that same quality of you're not an army. You're bidding on an army.
Yeah.
So if someone attacks the one you want to win, your immediate reaction is attack them back. But
I don't want them to win.
I don't care if that happens. I want this army to win.
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun being the whispers behind the king in the king's ear, fighting a war. So the new campaign just ended with the expansion. There's Mint Control. If you're a fan of tiny games,
tiny games and area
control, we have Mint Control that ended its campaign a while ago. I'm a fan of the Mint games. I own all of them, so I naturally backed Mint Control.
I kind of already talked about the Shakespeare game, not Shakespeare, Sherlock Holmes game, the graphic novels. That one's I backed recently on Kickstarter a while back, and it should be coming in soon.
And then another area control that just ended, which was probably late back, Maharaja. Thank you. Sorry, my Indian's a little rusty. That is also an area control game. That's actually why I backed it, because I clicked on the little video and the first thing it said is like area control. All right,
you talked me into it.
Yeah, sold. Done. You had me at area control.
You talked me into it. But in that one, you're going to cities, and the king is like traveling from city to city, and you're trying to display your god greater than all the other gods. And that's where the area control comes in. You're building temples and stuff like that. And
yeah, so I actually have coming in the mail. I just got the notice for it. The email said that the Revenge of El Dorado is on the way. It's an expansion.
Must not be Simon if you got the notice before the game arrived.
Yes, before the game arrived. And,
come on.
Oh, come on. Yes. It's an expansion to Island of El Dorado, which we played a couple of times. That was the one we had to go ahead and try to control the pyramids and get the artifacts.
That one was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I remember initially when we played it, there was a little discrepancy on the rule. Yeah, it is definitely a fancy game with a magnetic box and
Yeah, you want
fancy pile. Yeah, it's a really
Yeah.
fancy game. But there's an expansion for it. And I think they actually part of it is like a whole new case to kind of like fit everything
Hold
in.
everything.
Yeah, hold everything.
Yeah.
It was delayed for a while, and I just got the notice. So to be perfectly honest, I don't even remember what the expansion has in it. I know it adds a new faction and like
I click
new
back,
enemies.
and when it shows up, I'll read the rule book and learn how to play.
Because it got delayed because of everything. Production shut down, and which I was like, I'll get it eventually.
Because everything else is delayed, and they didn't want to.
Yeah, right.
Be unique.
So So to be honest, I don't even remember what it adds to the game at this point. But
We'll find out soon.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough. I should have it by Wednesday.
All right. So last time we talked about we're going to give away War Whispers, and then we realized we didn't really follow up on it. So we're going to be pretty specific. When this episode drops, we're going to give some posts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. In order to be entered in the drawing to win the War Whispers, we need you to like and share that post. We will randomly pick someone who's liked and shared the post and get in contact with them and give away War Whispers Basic Edition.
The regular, retail editions.
Absolutely.
Yep. So just when you do like and share the post, make sure you put on hashtag the Lone Star Meeple. This way we can pull everything up and see, and kind of just do like a random drawing from there. So, like Michael said, share, like the post, and hashtag the Lone Star Meeple.
All one word. If you don't know how hashtags work.
All one word. That's right. Yeah, I'm getting old. I had to recently. I was like, how does this hashtag thing work? You young whippersnappers. So
I don't know about that.
But anyway, guys, that is our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to entertaining you in the next one. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you want to hear, and we will see you next time.
All right. See y'all later.
All right. This is the part where we talk.
I know.
Good talk, yeah, good talk. Dun, 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 dun.